So, welcome back to the part two of why do women bleed during sex. So, like we said, not all virgins do bleed during, you know, that ta to this virgin and all that. And some women that are not virgins also do bleed during ta. So, one of the reasons, aside from men who rush in without knocking down there, then they just dive in, especially when I'll use myself for example. I say a lot of things. I talk a lot. I play with people. So it's easy for people to say, this one, you go don't collect well, you go don't do this one, do that one. So when somebody, after assuming and concluding in his head that, oh, this person go don't deep well, and because in your head she's very deep, so when you now come, you now want to dive in. Then if opposite is the case, as I'm a virgin, you see that I'll bleed. Mm-hmm. I'll bleed. And even if I'm not a virgin and it's been a while, I did ta. Mm? You'll be tight. So if you rush in without knocking down there and I knocking down there and um, you know, make the gods happy before you just dive in, the lady can bleed. I can bleed. So another thing is sexually transmitted diseases can actually make a woman bleed during sex or after ta. So something polyps, I'm not a science student, said um it's not a cancer, but with time it can spread and cause cancer. Do you get? And then so when the woman is also not wet enough, when she's not wet enough, it can actually cause bleeding during or after sex. So when you also have less estrogen, yes, you can also bleed during or after sex. And that less estrogen can actually cause painful sex. Some persons they don't enjoy sex. It is painful when you are not producing more estrogen. It can cause painful sex, painful before and after, and then you can also be having blood, you can bleed during that process of ta ta ta. So endometriosis can also cause bleeding during or after sex. Yeah, I want to avoid the word. Let's use ta because when tissues that are not supposed to grow where they are supposed to grow, when they grow there, it makes it causes painful ta and then you to also cause you bleeding during or after ta. Another thing is trauma. I would want to talk more about trauma, but maybe not in this video. Yes, trauma can also cause you bleeding during ta and then cancer, of course. So go and check yourself if there is any growth within your, so that the earlier the better. So all these things are actually medical condition. Yes, from the number one to the last, they are medical disorder. So the best thing you can do is to do what? Go and visit a doctor, a health care person. And coming to visit a doctor, I would come back for that because I have my personal experience. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about it maybe when I'm ready. But let's talk about trauma next. So, in case if a woman bleeds, Don't be too excited because so many things can actually cause her to bleed during ta ta ta. Stay tuned while I talk about trauma.